You're listening to Your Purpose and Business podcast, where we connect you to possibilities. I'm your host, Raquel Walters, a two-time best-selling author, millennial speaker, corporate trainer, advocate, and clinical social worker at heart. Your Purpose and Business podcast will connect you with everyday successful people who will share their impactful stories, insights, challenges, failures, and triumphs on how they're navigating the working world, whether by climbing the 9-to-5 corporate ladder or starting, growing, and scaling their business. So grab your pen and notebook because you'll want to implement the nuggets and tools, strategies shared in every episode. Class is in session. Hey friends, after taking some time away, around 9 months, to dive deep, tend to some family matters, and feeling like different things has been hitting me from all angles in my life, I finally decided that, okay, Raquel, enough is enough. Things will always happen. Life is happening. Life is lifing, right? As the saying goes these days. But one thing I know for sure is that we can't run from problems. We can't run from challenges. We have to face them head on. And that even in the midst of it, if you need to prioritize things such as your health, perhaps family, in my case, perhaps getting realigned with your goals, with the plans, with what it is that you really want, then it's okay. And so if you're feeling that feeling or have similar experiences such as myself, or is going through it right now, and you're like, where do I begin? Where do I start? Then I hope that this mini podcast is for you. I know I've started the Your Purpose and Business podcast back in 2019. And for 2 years, I've been recording, I've been interviewing 9-to-5ers, how it is that they're able to level up in their careers, how they started, in addition to business owners as well. I've shared about my own story, but I haven't just shared a lot that I think that could really benefit everyone. And so I decided going into 2024, but this is and can be definitely relatable to any stage that you're at. It doesn't have to be the starting of a new year. It could be the starting of the month. It could be right now, the middle of the month. Who cares? But really, I hope that what I have to offer within these few minutes can definitely help you to push through and push past whatever it is that you are going through currently, whether that be in the area of your health, your wellness, your finances, your relationships, your spirituality. I hope and my prayer is that definitely you are able to get some value from this. So the topic here is where to begin. Where to begin when you are faced with obstacles, when you are faced with challenges, and you can't see a way out. Perhaps there's no support. Perhaps you're just overwhelmed and confused. And one of the things I know is that a confused mind says no and does nothing. One of my mentors always say that a confused mind says no and does nothing. So when we're in confusion, when we're in overwhelm, our brains tend to shut down and we don't do anything. We don't make any decision, and we live in that fear of where to begin, and we do nothing. And so when you find yourself, and what I found for me, when you're in that area where you're like, where do I begin? I find that starting with gratitude is what's really helpful. Gratitude is being in a presence and a state of mind where when you're overwhelmed, when you're confused, when you don't know what to do, is being thankful for what it is that you have right now, right? you have a pulse. If you touch your wrist, you could feel your pulse. If you touch, on your chest, you could feel your heartbeat, right? If you breathe in and breathe out, you realize and recognize that you have a life. You have a life. You are alive, right? And it does not matter if perhaps your health is not the best, your wellness, your state of mind, your mental health is not the best. But at the end of the day, remember that you have life, right? You woke up today. So many people did not wake up. And so that within itself is the first step, the first thing to recognize that things could always be worse. You have life. And if you have life, therefore, you have an opportunity to begin, to start, to make a new, right? You have life. And so I remember years ago, when I just started out my profession, I wasn't even a social worker yet. I didn't even start grad school as yet. I was working in the hospital, and I remember one of the nurse practitioners. So she said to me when I was going through some challenging times, trying to figure out what next to do in terms of my career, if I should apply to graduate school, if I should, become a social worker, or if I should, become a nurse, because everybody was convincing me in the hospital that nursing, you make more money, yada yada yada. But I had to really lean in and listen to my heart and to what it is that I really wanted to do. And even though nursing is still in the helping field, or is a part of the helping field, and social work is, and so many other professions, I was conflicted in what I wanted to do. And I remember her telling me, Raquel, what is life without problems? Because I was also worried about how am I going to pay for graduate school. I have to work this 9 to 5 job. Most graduate schools, of course, at the time was 2 years. You needed to not work, be available Monday through Friday, especially for internships, yada yada yada. And she said to me, "What is life without problems?" And that stuck with me. And all these years after, I occasionally remember what's life without problem. And I find myself when I'm talking to my friends, my family, my colleagues, what's life without problems? When anything comes up. And what I've found is that it creates this what one of my mentors would say, a creative opportunity to think about, yeah, really, what is life without problems? So it's like whenever you're faced with, challenges, perhaps you don't know, how you're going to find the extra money to pay for the babysitter. You don't have anyone to support you to take care of your kids or to watch them while you're at work, or perhaps you need them to go into after school, and you probably have to pay for that, and you're trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this when I know I have to work this job? Or you're probably in the deficit in terms of income, and you're trying to figure out, okay, this 9 to 5, I'm working 40 hours a week, it's not working. Do I need to perhaps sign up for overtime if my job allows, or do I need to do something on the side, like a side gig, or probably do Uber, Lyft, probably find a second job part-time to make ends meet, to earn additional income, to pay off these debts, or to pay for extra lessons for my kids. Who knows? But what is life without problems? And what is the creative opportunity here that you can think about in solving these problems? And so what that does is that your mind, when you ask yourself, what's the creative opportunity here to solve these problems, right, your mind automatically start thinking about possibilities of what it is that you could possibly do to solve that problem. And then the funny thing is that once you've solved that problem, guess what, my friends? Another problem is right behind. Another problem is right behind. So, what's life without problems? As you solve one, another one comes up. So, in all of this, we still have to maintain that gratitude. Another thing that I have recognized is that we can only control what we can, right? We can only control what we can. You find solutions to the problem. You ask for help. You seek out support, right? You take things and put them into action and see a lot of times with trials and errors in every area of your life, and you see if that is the possible solution to your problem. And then what you can control, you give the rest to God. I have a big faith in God, and whatever it is that your religious background is or your belief system is, I believe in God. I recognize that God is the number one in my life. He is ever faithful and always is there for me. And so you give the rest to God, right? And when you find yourself that you've done all you can, you pause, you take a break, you realign yourself, you rest, you restructure, and you give it to God. But even in giving it all to God and maintaining that gratitude and staying in faith, right, we have to make a plan. Like I said, what are the possible solutions to my problem or problems? What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for breath. I have life. I have my health. Maybe my mental health is not in the perfect state. Maybe I'm depressed. Maybe I'm sad. But I am going to acknowledge that things could always be worse. And what can I do in these moments when I'm feeling sad and down to cheer myself up and get me back out of this funk, get me back out of this overwhelm? And the only thing that I know that can do that, and I'll repeat it again, is staying in gratitude, looking at the problems. What's the creative opportunity here to solve my problem? Relying on your faith, seeking support, making a plan, putting a plan in action. Because it's the action piece that's going to help you to gain momentum and give you that conviction and that faith and that confidence that things will always work out, because it always does. Things will always work out because it always does. And then guess what, my friends? Time to execute. Putting that plan in action, execute, implement all of that, right? See what works, what doesn't work, throw it to the wayside, seek out support, but remember, stay grounded and remember to stay in gratitude. Because most of all, gratitude and faith and action is what's going to help you to begin, to sustain, and to elevate. And with all of that, when it is that you need to take a break, rest, recover. Those two things are important. But get back up and get back in the game of what we call life, because you are worthy, you are enough. You can do things. You can do hard things. We all can do hard things. I can do hard things. You can do hard things. But remember, stay in gratitude, focus, and put God first. So I hope that this mini podcast has provided some sort of insight, some sort of encouragement, motivation, inspiration, and guidance in what you can do when you're in a funk and you're not sure where to begin. And just know that you got this. You got this. All right? So wherever it is that you are, get up and say to yourself, I got this. I got this. And I'm going to continue with life. I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to solve these problems. All right? So love and light. I'll catch you in the next one. If you have found this valuable and you want to share, please go ahead, share this with a friend. Definitely like, leave a review, a little comment section to let me know that, this has been helpful. I appreciate it so much, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening. If you've loved this episode, let's stay in touch. Head over to RaquelWalters.com and subscribe to my email list so that I can send you updates on new episodes, exclusive motivational nuggets, and insider knowledge that's only shared when you join our community. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review, as I want to know your thoughts about every episode. Follow me on Instagram at Your Purpose and Business Podcast, And remember, your life is beautiful, and this is a part of your journey. So embrace it. Speak to you soon.